Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time to continue the How to Spot a Fake Natty series. Now, I picked one that has been one of the single most highly requested ones, one of the top 3 requested ones of the last few weeks. I have counted upwards of 200 requests for this person to be covered in the series. I didn't know who he was. I actually had to do a little investigating and digging ahead of time. Now, some of the other more requested ones, I know you guys are like, why aren't you doing them? Why aren't you doing them? Because, guys, I need to keep this series interesting, and some of the guys who might be really good choices, I can think of at least one half natty, I'm not going to cover until later. I need to keep some suspense in this series. Keep it interesting, keep it flowing. So some of the best ones I might not want to do till I'm a year into the series, guys. It's all about keeping it flowing. But today we're going to cover none other than Kinobody, also known as Greg Gallagher. Alright, I want to state a few things up front. First of all, I'm not saying he is massive or big or anything. He is obviously not enormous by any standard. It's not about his fat-free mass index. Let's talk a little bit about marketing here. You guys know that I am very much a believer in capitalism. I like free markets. But to make a free market flow properly, there needs to be independent oversight. I don't mean government oversight. I mean independent oversight. Reviewers, critics, things like that who are out there saying, hey, take a second look at what people are selling out there. Look at the ethics of companies. Look at the ethics of individuals selling things. Look at the quality of the products they sell and if they're worth the money they're selling them for. Are they safe, etc. So that people, they can make their own educated individual choices. And if they see all the various reviews and evidence and they still do something stupid, then let the buyer beware. Let them lose their money. But the whole point is to give the dissenting voices in the other side of things. Now, he's actually very good at marketing, but that's what it comes down to. He is basically marketing. And in order to market what he is selling, he requires a very large audience to believe that he is completely natty and that his methods that he uses personally will work for all of you. Well, here's the problem with that. Not even looking at his size. When you look at his previous photos I linked up, the guy at various times of the year has a very round, very full physique. All his muscle bellies are full, his skin tight, everything almost has that Photoshop look even in videos. He doesn't keep it at all times though. And that's interesting because that is generally indicative of using creatine and whey protons. Or at least certain types of creatine and whey protons. People always say things like, well, if someone is on something, shouldn't they all look the same? No, of course not. Different things do different things. He is using some very dry whey protons that he's not adding water to, if you catch my drift. And here's the thing. If it was his diet and his training that was producing this result, then why don't his clients and his testimonials show that? Because if you look here, I'm going to link a series of just like the guys I pulled off the very top of the list. I'm going to assume the guys he's most proud of are the ones that are going to be up near the top of the list. I just ran over to one of his programs called like the Warrior Shred or something. I pulled a bunch of the before and afters from the very top of the list. I pulled a handful. I'm just going to run them through for you guys, and I want you guys to notice something when you look at them. All right, every one of those guys lost a lot of fat. Some of them gained a little muscle too. There is some recomposition, but they all lost fat. Yet, when they're leaner, none of them have the look to their physiques that he has. They all look flat. They all look stringy. It's not even about muscle mass. It's the size that they've dieted down and they've lost fullness. They look flat. They look deprived. Yet when you look at him, it's similar body fats. He is thick and round and full. His muscle bellies are all full, like they're holding extra water and fluid intramuscularly that isn't trickling out into the subcutaneous area. He looks thick and full. His people who are buying his programs, their diet and training and cardio and whatever they're doing based upon what he's selling, they're not achieving the same look. That is indicative of the fact that they aren't using the whey protons that he is using in his pictures. They're after pictures, they're all full natty. And you know, that would be well and good other than the guy is promoting some interesting ideas. He is first of all promoting intermittent fasting as being something more magical than it really is. You know what, guys? I'm okay with intermittent fasting. There are times when I have promoted intermittent fasting for certain things. It can be a useful tool for controlling appetite, and it works until it doesn't work any longer. I've used it myself. It worked for a little while until it stopped working. Then I stopped using it because it doesn't work. Intermittent fasting can also make it more difficult to gain muscle, because we do know that you really need 3 to 4 servings of protein a day to reach ideal muscle protein synthesis. So this idea of cramming everything into a really small window isn't always ideal for muscle protein synthesis or growth, but it can be a useful appetite controlling tool to eat all of your food in one window. But it will inhibit your gains. It can be useful for fat loss, not so much for muscle gains or even for clean bulking. Furthermore, it runs the risk of creating eating disorders. That is one of the big downsides to intermittent fasting. It can contribute largely to eating disorders for people who are prone to that. And Martin Berkhan popularized it with his lean gains approach years ago, something like 5 or 6 years ago, and it worked for a lot of people. Then it kind of fell out, and it looks like Greg is trying to pick back up on that trend. The other thing he's also telling people is that full body isn't ideal for natties, and nothing could be further from the truth on that one. Now, all of that being said, the only reason this needs to be pointed out is, again, it's not like the guy is using large amounts of anything. He is using very small amounts. But in this case, he's selling programs for $50, and he points out that he has clients who he charges $150 per hour to train clients in person, which is insane for a personal trainer. But if that's what people are willing to pay, that's what they're willing to pay. Supply and demand. But then by that same token, he's then selling cookie cutter programs and cookie cutter books for $50, or $47 is what I saw, but that's $50. It's the same thing. And that's just absurd. And he's doing it based upon a natty status. But the reality is he doesn't appear to actually be natty. He's selling these products based upon his natty status to give you the results that he got, but his people aren't getting the same results. And the reason is because they aren't on creatine and whey protons, and he most definitely is. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. If you enjoyed this video or found it entertaining and you like my work in general, please click like down below. It is greatly appreciated. So if you do that, thank you very much. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.